Well, afternoon all, hope you're well. I'm thinking about having a 2 or 3 hours, the last of the flood and maybe the first hour of the ebb on Caister Beach with the rods. It's a bit against my better judgment because that's the flood tide and the ebb always fish better. There isn't a lot of colour in the water really. And worst of all, there's a little bit of redweed here on the high tide mark, but that high tide mark has got tons of redweed. That looks horrendous, doesn't it? I got the gear in the van, I really am tempted over a few hours. There's lack of fishing in the last few weeks was done it. I've been out of the boat once in the last month or so. Horrendous. But who knows? I want to go get the gear at the van, I'm going to have to give it a go. Now I'm down here, there's still some good swells running here. There's hardly any wind, you see the wind turbines not even moving. Zoom in, not even moving. Good swells here, certainly like more than we go off in a boat, that's for certain. Well, bait wise is exactly what I just pulled out of the freezer. Just some vacuum packed herring I put in there around last Christmas time. And some squid, just a bit of a lot ago, obviously from Coles, but I bought it from Caister Tackle Shop. Yeah, that'll do. Got to be realistic, what we're looking at tonight is probably whiting and more whiting. Not much else really, but you got to be in it to win it. As long as I don't get too much of this weed. Well, I ain't cast out yet, I just got the rods rigged up and put traces on. I've got two hook flappers, so they're ready to go. One with 1/0 hooks on and one with 2/0 hooks on. Wouldn't make a lot of difference, but I'll put a slightly bigger, I can put a whole one of them little baby squid on a 2/0 hook. They fit on a lot better than just whip it on with a bit of elastic. Well, that's about 4 o'clock, 2 hours to high water, and that's well up already. What it generally is 75% of the height of the tide is done by halfway through the tide, so it's just trickling up a little bit more. You can see where the old tide mark is there, so I'm a little bit away from it. But the rods hadn't bent over yet, was a good sign. I just cast them out about 40 yards each one, not far. That right hand rod's seem to get a bit of a bend on it. Looks like in weed. I've got a nasty feeling that is. Especially with this weed on the beach. But that's life, you've got to be in it to win it, ain't you? It's nice to get a bit of fresh air. Well, that right hand rod is banging round and flapping about. I suspect there might be some weed on it, so I better get it in. Well, as predicted, there's plenty of weed on the leader knot, but the trace is clean and so's the hooks, and there's the bait still there, so hey-oh, it could have been a lot worse. At least I ain't fishing were covered up baits, so what I'll do, I'll cast up tide more and hopefully that won't pick the weed up so much. Well, there's a bit of weed there as expected, but still fishable. There's some good swells rolling in here. It doesn't look very good on the camera. But there's a lot more swell to my right. Well, you can see that. It's a little bit shallower there. And there's some good swells rolling there, like 6 foot swells now and then. I certainly wouldn't want to be launching a boat in it, that's for sure. But there you go. That's plenty fishable. There's weed there, but that's fishable. That's the main thing. That's when you come down, bait up, get everything ready, then you can't fish is the problem. Be nice, it might be a late basser bait. Be even better, wouldn't it? Well, being a Sunday afternoon, when I first got down, there was a lot of people about. But they're starting to ease off now, what's good. I mean, I can have a pee in peace. When you got a lot of people on the beach a bit, or you have a pee, you got to get one funny bugger. And that can cause a lot of problems, or people who let dogs everywhere and be a pain in the arse. Oh, there's plenty of them. There's a few dogs fighting a little while ago. Just don't know why they didn't put them on leads. Stop a load of problem, but it's never their dog that's a problem, is it? I'm getting a grumpy old grump on now. I'll pack it in about dogs. A pain in the arse, but there's still some good owners come down here. Well, it's now the right hand rod starting to go around. The gatherer's got weed on it, but we'll give it a go, little look. That's a lot better, isn't it? You can live with that. There's a little tiny bit of weed on the leader knot, and that is where it hit. That's superb, that is. That must mean it's easing off a bit. But then again, I think casting up tide do help. That sort of run along the line and trickle off rather than running along the line and catching up when it go down tide. So I now put some more bait and I only put herring on that time because the squid was still frozen. Amateur mistake, but it's the last minute thing. So I'll get some squid on now and get that bag out. Well, that left hand rod is banging around a lot. That was weed on it or something, but I have to give it a reel in. Nothing yet, no. Well, it must have just been the swell catching the line, but the bait looked untouched and a little strip of herring tipped off with squid. It looked untouched. So it's not even cast it out yet. But the good thing was there's no weed at all. But you can see that swell's getting worse now. Now it's made it over the banks, you see, well, you can see it on Scrooby there. I think you can see all the little peaks. So the swell's now getting over the sandbank and obviously coming inshore. But sod's law, and as soon as I video it, all the swell go. I'll get this baited up and get this back out again then. I should have really come here in the morning, really. That'd have been the ebb this morning, and the water would be nice and coloured up, and nobody got a chance of food whitening. But on the flood, all that colour dropped out of the water here generally. Well, especially the pressure's been up a bit, so there isn't much colour in the water on the flood. You really got to get the ebb always fish better here at Caister. So hopefully, give another hour or so, and that'll ebb. And also, if it's getting dark, hopefully we'll get a few whitings, because I don't think there'll be too much anything else. I think the days of the old COD are gone, even though I had a couple in the pots this summer. But it'd be nice to see a few fish. When I reeled them the last time, the hook baits were untouched, weren't they? They're like, I just put them on there. So there isn't a lot of fish there, but then again, if there's no colour in the water, there ain't going to be there. Now, time for a nice cup of coffee and wait it out a bit. And it's got to be time to reel the right hand rod in. I started to go round and snag on slightly to the southern of me. But I don't know if there's any bites, the tip keep pinging a bit, but I think it's just the old swell hitting the line, as to expect. I'll go have a look. As you can see, there's a little tiny bit of weed on the leader knot, but not much. But the bait look untouched. I think the best chance will be after dark now. Might be a few whiting turn up. Alright, the top bait look a bit manky, but the bottom bait doesn't look far off how I cast it out. Obviously a lot of fish there, is there? Be nice if there's one or two bass, that'd be nice, isn't it? Well, I think really want worm, that's a bit more ideal for bass. Well, there you go. I'll bait this back up again and get it out. I'm glad I got a flask to keep me warm. It's a bit cooler today, isn't it now? Turned cool the last few days. I just saw a big old seal in here, don't know where that's gone. Probably behind that somewhere. Chancing to go anywhere right? The seal following me. There you go. See, there's a bit of weed right up the line there. I have to sort them out. I see there's both lines there, one behind the other. Don't want them getting hit by swell and then wrapping up together, do I? Be a nightmare. They've been out long. The one that seal went, I can't see it anymore. Tell you something, new seals, new fish. Well, I had a couple of more casts, same old thing, baits untouched. A little bit of weed, not a huge amount, but you can live with that. One interesting thing I've worked out is normally to go fishing, have a fag or 10 and coffee, and I always think that was the fags what give me bloody acid. But obviously not smoking anymore, that must be the coffee. But we all know tea and flask is crap, and it bloody awful. But I think I have to have another coffee. It's about 5 o'clock now. It's starting to get cool. I might have to put my jacket on. I might have to wait till another half before low water and get dark. I think that might be dark before we get the old whiting in. You thought there should be plenty of whiting here already now, shouldn't you? Middle October, virtually. There's got to be tons of whiting. Well, I ain't had nothing so far, so I thought I'd try something different. I just say flick that one about 15 yards out, obviously in the swell. See if there's anything in there. That's chopping the bottom up a bit. Got a bit of feed in there and something in there, but it's not looking good so far. I'll just flick that one 15 yards out, give that a go. I've tried anywhere between like 75 yards to 25 yards and got nowhere. So you got to try something a bit different. So I just flick that one about 15 yards out, basically just in the gutter sort of thing along here. Give that a go. It's got 2 hooks on it. When I was getting ready leaving the van, I nearly forgot my lucky hat. I wore that fishing for the last 2 or 3 years, but after this year, the crap potting season and crap netting season, it's worse over red fishing this summer in the boat. I might burn it and call it a bad omen. Oh, what a crap year it's been. Half the time I haven't bothered even putting the videos up. There's been so little, bloody pointless. And obviously, things like smooth rounds I don't want to see me catch. Unfortunately, we do get a few smooth rounds, but that upset the anglers, so I don't bother posting videos if we get a few smooth rounds. I don't want to upset people unnecessarily. Everyone's got different ideas, and I know anglers see them as a good sporting fish, so I don't like to post videos up there. Smooth rounds being landed. But unfortunately, the East Coast around here is part and parcel of what we do. We do get a few smooth rounds in the summer. At this rate, I should have gone down the Broads and mixed up a bit of brown crumb and scalded pellet and gone after the bream last night. That's getting near the end of the season for the bream, really. That'd have been nice to try and get a few. And it ain't looking very good down here at the minute, is it? Looking very poor. There you go. Hopefully when that gets dark, there might be a few whiting turn up. That's what we need. I'll be glad to see anything at this rate. Bloody fishing. I don't know if you'll see it pop back up. But there's a guillemot just started working off here, coming past, dive down and dive back up again. I can't see him now. He dived down and come back up again once and that's it. They are quick little buggers. Old guillemots, they're good at fishing. They're a lot better than I am. They'd starve to death if they'd done what I done today, wouldn't they? There you go. Nice to see the old guillemots. They've really been hit hard by the bird flu. A year or so ago, you were walking on the beach and saw 1 or 2 dead guillemots on the beach every day, so they really got hit hard by the old bird flu. But luckily, I haven't seen any dead recently. I don't know if it's because just lack of numbers or whatever. But obviously, the birds are now migrating back over here, so the bird flu might have eased off a bit, hopefully. Well, that one I just stuck about 15 yards out. That didn't do much good. All it done was generate more weed than normal. Probably a little weed just running just outside the brakes, I imagine, and that was had quite a lot of weed on that. But I now cleared it off and rebaited it. I just stuck it out about 80 yards. Gone a little bit further to see if the weeds in the breakers, it doesn't matter how far you cast out. Basically, further you cast out, hopefully it'll lift the line above all that crap so you don't get it. But we're starting to lose the light now. It's about R5. Hopefully we'll get some whiting soon. I deserve something. Sat here for a couple of hours without a fish. That's quite a while, isn't it, on the beach? Normally you get food whiting after dark, don't you? Fingers crossed. I can't have a blankety blank. If you look at the beach here, about half hour ago, the sea was coming right up to this weed line here. So even though it's not quite high tide, the water's already started to leave the beach. The water normally leave the beach, but start leaving the beach half an hour before the tide. Look up there. The water was all covering this, and now it's pulled back until half an hour to the tide. And you see the seagulls what are sitting on the water, they're still going from north to south, so they're still flooding. But the water's definitely dropped already, starting to drop away. Well, it's now 5 to 6, so we're starting to lose the light a little bit. The last couple of casts I've been whacking out about 80-90 yards. And yeah, I haven't seen a sausage yet. I'm really hoping anytime soon. It starts getting dark. We start getting a whiting or two. I can't blank. Bloody hell. Blanking in middle of autumn, or middle of October, should you say? I never heard nothing like it. I'll never blank in the middle of October. Normally that's knee deep with bloody whitings, isn't it? You just can't get through them. Whether that's this swell's done something, I don't know, but I've got a bit of free whiting here. I'm sure if that go dark, that'll pick up. But I'll give it another hour, and then that's some time for me. I hate to spend all night down here blanking. Well, it looked like there's a couple of anglers now setting up to the southern of me. The other side of the lifeboat shed. You should have come and said something. Told them to gone somewhere else. Then again, I always find the ebb fish better here, and especially after dark. Right now, there'll be a few whiting after dark on the ebb tide. I don't know if I'll get back. It's only about another 50 minutes, and I vowed to go home at 7 o'clock. Got to be up in the morning early and all that sort of thing. So that is what it is. Get the first hour of darkness and see where we go from there. Hasn't been looking good so far, has it? But I'd love to see a little whiting, save from a blank. I've never blanked this time of year in my life. Well, it's about 6:15. It's now starting to get dark, so just smashed on my old $9.99 eBay light. The only problem with that light is I should have bought two of them. They were $9.99 for a 20-watt bulb. Well, they last about 3.5–4 hours, but I've got another battery that I've rigged up so I can plug into it so it lasts longer. But for $9.99, they're a smashing light for the beach. Well, you can't really see much on the rod tips at the minute. It's like just setting, it's not totally dark yet. But there you go. That's a cracking little light for the beach. Ever so handy. Whatever next? A whiting. It's not a big one, but I'm bloody happy to see it. As soon as I start losing that light, I got the old whiting turn up. Thank God for that. No one liked the blank, and it started to get embarrassing. Well, I'll get him unhooked and get him back. It's only a little old thing. So, I'll be pleased he can swim off to fight another day. Well, let's hope we start getting a few whiting now for the last half an hour of me being here. Get a few fish would be nice. That one was at a good range, that was. When I started winding, you could feel the line was all wrinkly, so that's further out than normal, let's put it that way. Sometimes you get that odd cast where you go a little bit further. So as soon as I started reeling in, you could feel the line was all wrinkly. So that one was well over 100. People always say they cast further than what they do, but if you mark it out, 100 yards is quite a way with bait. But I'm only a little short ass. I can put a carp rod further than I can a beach caster. At a fishing lake I used to fish at, we used to often put the leads 125 to 150 yards, and that was measured. You had to hit it, but then again, that's a lot easier to compress a 3.75 pound carp rod than it is a beach caster. I always regret, really, I should always learn to cast properly with sea fishing, because 130 yards is a good cast for me with a beach caster. Well, a lot of people do a lot further than that. You used to watch people pendulum cast, and it's a pleasure to watch them in it. But I never learned to cast properly as a kid, so 120 yards is a good cast for me, really, sea fishing. And bloody typically, next cast get another whiting. But unfortunately, I'm now going to have to pack up in a minute, just getting near home time. I've got to be up early for work in the morning, and we all know until that lovely retirement day come, work take over. There's another whiting. I ain't gonna bother keeping it as a keeper, that is what I ain't gonna bother. I'll put that back right now. Well, that's very predictable, really. As soon as that ebb tide start and it get dark, you always get a few whiting here, don't you? Unfortunately, I can't stay. I wish I could. If I'd have come down half hour before dark to get settled at slack water, then fish for a few hours, I'm sure I'd plenty of whiting. But that's sod's law, innit? It's still been nice to get out, very enjoyable. I'll reel the other two in a minute. Let's see if we get any more. they'll start coming thick and fast now, and generally come closer and closer to the beach till you can get them like 20-30 yard little flick out when after the shrimp's just behind the breakers. And this time that's a tiny old pin, this one. So I've got the bait down. Look at it, tiny little old thing. But prove they're there. If you can get the ebb in the daytime, you'll get them when there's a bit of colour in the water, or the ebb and in the dark and you're laughing. But typically they can't start coming on, but I've got to pack up. But this is one rod in. I'll pack this rod up now, I'll get this back and I'll reel the other rod in. Well, I just cast out the other rod and I left it for 5 minutes while I put the other rod away, and as you can see there's no bait left on it, so then waiting to hitting them hard, stripping the baits within minutes. That's been out there 5-8 minutes max really. Well, that's me. I'm now going to pack up and go home and have some tea and a cuppa and call it a night. Okay then, hope you found it interesting, and yeah, if you want to catch any fish at Caister, come down on the ebb, so there's a bit of colour in the water, and preferably at night. Okay, catch you later boys and girls, have fun, bye.